Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Last First Date Radio, featuring interviews with experts in dating, relating, and mating in midlife. And now, here's your host, Sandy Weiner.
Hello, everybody. This is Sandy Weiner, and I am the founder and Chief Love Officer at LastFirstDate.com. I am devoted to helping women and men achieve healthy, off-the-charts love in the second half of life. We have a fabulous show coming up for you today. I'm going to be speaking with therapist Deborah Morehead about how to turn a sucky relationship into a wow relationship. As a dating coach, I specialize in helping women date as the high-value women that they are in every other part of their lives. And when a woman knows her true worth, she attracts her most aligned partner. Most women who come to me for support are incredible mothers and successful in the workforce, but they have challenges when it comes to their romantic relationships. Here's one of the mistakes that I notice over and over again. Women often date with the same energy they bring to work. They bring competition, one-upsmanship, argumentative nature. They bring all these things that makes them a success in the workplace, but it can turn off the men that they're attracted to. And I used to think that men would be really attracted to me if they knew that I was really busy and if I showed them how smart I was. But this is really a common mistake because men are not looking for your success story. They're looking for who you are in a relationship. And once you understand that and what isn't working in dating, you can easily make a few small changes in how you show up on your dates. These types of mistakes can really sabotage your success. The problem is it's hard to see your dating behavior when you're too close to the situation. And I want you to find and create a healthy, loving relationship. So that's why I created a free guide where I explain the top 3 mistakes that midlife daters make and how to turn them around so you can find lasting love. It's my gift to you. And if you want a copy, go to lastfirstdate.com and sign up on my homepage because I want you to go on your last first date. And now, a word from our sponsor, eHarmony EH+.
Are you turned off by online dating? Say hello to EH+. This is eHarmony founder Dr. Neil Clark Warren. EH+ takes the best parts of eHarmony and combines them with personal matchmaking. With EH+, a matchmaker will learn all about you and handpick your matches. No computer needed. Get started today. Call 855-940-LOVE. That's 855-940-LOVE.
And EH Plus is actually a really interesting new service. We're going to talk about it a little bit more later. I just recommended it to one of my clients who wants a little bit more of a matchmaking type of service to add to her dating coaching that she's doing with me. So it's something to definitely consider. And now for our fabulous guest today, Deborah Morehead. She has 20-plus years of expertise in the business of helping people. She's a highly trained leader, expert therapist, and outstanding teacher. She's the creator of the Stop the Cycle, Sabotage to Success relationship system. This is an effective and efficient relationship methodology of which Deborah has condensed from her extensive education, tens of thousands of hours interacting with her clients, 20 years of professional experience, and her lifetime of personal experiences. Deborah has a unique gift of looking right into your heart, recognizing your core needs, and then helping you transform yourself and your relationships to what you desire. And so we're going to hear from Deborah about how to get that wow relationship. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, Sandy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm excited that you're here. And for those of you who don't know, Deborah leads these amazing telesummits, and this is the second year that I am honored to be part of it. And we just did our little piece that's going to air. When's the next one?
It begins. I know, really. It begins September 14th.
Oh, soon, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, very exciting.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about the telesummit in a little bit. But let's talk about how you went from embarrassingly sucky to an amazingly wow relationship.
It's such embarrassing stories, but I guess we all have them, right? So,
Right.
yes, I was an elementary school teacher, loving that. I had a great family, loving parents, wonderful sister, but I just kept picking the wrong guys, and sometimes it was so embarrassing to even talk about it. I mean, I was cheated on. They would borrow money from me and never pay me back, and there was just so much more that was going on that was so embarrassing. And a lot of times I was thinking that if I just kept trying harder, I don't know if you've ever done that, but I know I'm just, if I try harder, it'll be better.
Yeah.
But it just never seemed to work, and it really kind of all came together. Though when I was dating a man who actually had a really severe addiction problem, and there was lots of embarrassing things that I tolerated in that relationship, but it really the final straw was. I'm dating myself here a little bit, but he actually stole a VCR that I had borrowed from my father. And, of course, I wasn't able to get it back, and I had to go and tell my father and attempt to pay my father back for it. But that was like the epitome of my embarrassment, and I just thought, I have to do something different. These relationships were just draining me, emotionally and financially. And I just had to figure it out. So I went the long way around. I went to actually school to become a counselor, to become a marriage family therapist. And in the process, I actually did my own counseling. And the wonderful thing is I actually did figure it out through that long way around. And now I have got to help. I've just enjoyed helping hundreds of women create really the lives and the relationships that they have desired, and that's just been such a joy in my life to be able to do that.
I can hear that in your voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's such a warmth and a passion for this.
Yeah. You know what? When I am, every time that I get to either do coaching or therapy with these women, I just walk away just full of blessings and gifts, just that they allow me to know them, they allow me to come alongside them, and then to get to see their excitement. I worked with one woman for a while, and she had come to me kind of in the same place. She had picked a really rotten guy in her life, and they had actually been broken up for 3 years, but she still was hooked on him when she came to see me. Her name was Chris, and we basically got right to the core of things. And what's so wonderful is I know she finally found the right guy, and she's been married to him for 8 years and going, and just madly in love with him. And that's the kind of stuff I just love to be a part of. Help. So, and I know you know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
I do.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that when you go through it the way you did, it becomes even more of a passion, because by healing yourself, you understand the process and you know the benefits of doing that inner work. So before, when you said I tried harder, and it didn't work, it's not about trying harder, it's about doing the right things and doing the right kind of work. And and that's true for anything. It's true for business. You can work really, really hard and not get any success, or you can do the right things and actually work less and have more success. So this issue of being kind of addicted to men who are toxic, who are not there for you but for their own gain, which it sounds like that was kind of your stuff.
Yes.
And it's so common, and it is an addiction. It's hard to break this. So tell me, what are 3 primary problems that lead to picking and staying with the wrong guy?
Sure, and this obviously was part of my process in learning this as well, but the 3 problems that I really see that the women I work with kind of do over and over again is the first one is they really don't slow down and take time to know themselves first, and to really know and understand what I call their core needs well enough. Because this is what we do. We all work out of an unconscious place, until we make it conscious, right? So when it's unconscious, we kind of are picking men and creating almost a self-fulfilling prophecy, but we don't even know it. So we just keep picking these guys that in certain ways are going to actually recreate. There's a lot more to this, but I'm simplifying it, but actually recreate our worst fears or our worst beliefs about ourselves. And so that's the number one, is to slow down and get to know yourself and your core needs. The number two is that, again, they haven't slowed down and taken the time to first really know what their non-negotiables are. You just, like all of us so often have done, we just pick a guy because we think he's cute or because, gosh, he likes me. And yet the truth is, if we don't put ourselves in the driver's seat by knowing what our non-negotiables are, we end up basically going forward into relationships that are that are not the best for us, and we're not evaluating. And then the third one is that once you dating a guy, right, you're kind of at the beginning stages of the beginning of dating, you kind of, and this is what we all do, and please know, we kind of go into a fantasy land. We start thinking, oh, I like him, and oh, this would be fun to do together, and oh, look at this, and we kind of start going into the future, and we kind of start our expectations. And first of all, we all do this, and there's actually some hormones that are going on that keep some of this going. But it's a way that we kind of put the rose-colored glasses on, and you really have to, you're going to have all that going on, but you also have to add in a way to evaluate that relationship, evaluate what's going on, and evaluate the man, and look closely for red flags. You just have to do that. So those are the three things that I have found people get in trouble with.
Yeah, those are great, and I like how concisely you put it. And I think that definitely you have to know yourself and know what your core needs are. And a lot of people don't even know what a core need is. Yeah. And that's something that actually in my coaching training, I was like, oh wow, these are my core values. These are my core needs. This is what drives me. I never put a finger on it before, and it just opens up your world, and you realize this is what motivated me to do all these things in my life and to make these choices. And if you don't know those core needs, you can allow other people to determine what the direction of your life is, and that often leads to bad choices. Yeah, so I see that happening.
Yeah, that's so well put, Sandy, because that's exactly what happens, and why that's my number one thing. That it sounds like you as well work with your clients too. That's my number one thing, is you've got to know that and bring that to the surface, because that's the only way that kind of really puts you in charge of your life.
Absolutely. So let's talk about those non-negotiables, because you mentioned them, and I think a lot of people have trouble identifying them. So, first of all, why is it so important, and also maybe if you can add how to identify them.
Oh, sure. Sure. It's a whole process, but I'll share a little bit about the process. But first of all, it is so important, because it kind of goes back to what I was saying, is when we first start dating somebody, we all go into this fantasy land place a little bit. And again, it's normal. It's just it's how we work. That's why so often it doesn't matter what age you are, but when you're first dating somebody, I think we all can feel this. You kind of feel like that giddy little teenager again, right? It's just those feelings that you have, because it's exciting, it's new, we've got hormones going, in our body, and the problem is, if you're not clear on what it is that you really want for your life and your relationship, and then you just keep right on dating that person, what ultimately ends up happening is you either end up settling for something that you really knew that you didn't want in your life, or you think that you're going to be able to change them, and so then of course you keep working at that, and in either of those cases that ends up really creating a setup for an either not very happy or a not very successful relationship. And that's the problem when you don't know your non-negotiables. So by knowing the non-negotiables, you basically put the power in your hands. I call it, you become the decider. And the first step to that is to start take the time to really create your non-negotiables.
So, I love that.
Yeah, and people just don't realize that. And by holding, the truth is when you start dating somebody, even if you have your non-negotiables, there's a part of you that wants to go, oh, well, maybe not, or oh, and you want to stay in it, but you really have to stick to those non-negotiables.
And they don't go away.
No, they don't.
And,
yeah. So you want to really know what they are, and then ask the various questions. It's not like you sit down on the first date and say, well, what about this, and what about this, and what about this?
Right.
If one of your non-negotiables, if one of your non-negotiables was you want kids, you don't want to say, and by the way, do you want kids on the very first date? But there's ways to ask the questions as you are, in those first, even 3 dates is really what I like people to do, so that you're not getting too much beyond. And there's a whole process to being able to evaluate your non-negotiables, but part of it is that you want to take the time to really think about what are your values, what are your beliefs, and what's your lifestyle that you are already living and want to kind of see yourself. Those are good first questions to ask, and ultimately, a non-negotiable is really just what it says. It's a non-negotiable. It's a black and white. It's not a gray area. Like, for example, I may really, really like to dance, and I would love it if my partner, that I pick likes to dance. But is that a black and white? I mean, I suppose if I was actually a competitive dancer and that was my entire life, then it would be a black and white, right? But if it's just that I like to go out every Friday night and dance, then it's not really a black and white. And I would possibly give that up. But if it's a belief, if I have for example, a particular spiritual belief, and it's really important that my partner has a similar spiritual belief, then that's a non-negotiable that you want to just stick with no matter what. So does that kind of describe?
Yeah, that's great. And I think people often do give up on the important things, and then they're shocked when the relationship doesn't work. And I know I certainly gave up on some of my non-negotiables, but I didn't really know what they were before I got married. So that's something I learned over time, and it really informed every relationship post-divorce because I knew now these are things I cannot be without. So thank you for that. So I just want to take another quick break to give another shout-out to our sponsor, eHarmony. And for anybody who's frustrated with online dating, I do have good news for you because the #1 relationship experts at eHarmony have created a new premium service, and it's called EH+. They combine the personal attention of a matchmaker with eHarmony's matching technology and their extensive pool of great singles. With EH+, each matchmaker will learn about you and handpick your matches so there's no computer needed, which is something that a lot of people dating online would absolutely love. It gets really frustrating. And by the way, the matchmakers are awesome. I know people who've used EH+, and they're all therapists. They're all really qualified, and we have one of them coming on the show in September. Are you ready to find the love of your life? Then get started at ehplus.com. That's ehplus.com. And now back to our guest, Deborah Morehead, and we're talking about how to get that wow relationship. So let's get right into it. What's the key to getting it?
Well, so obviously, based off of the things that I just said, you've got to go through all 3 steps. And I want to talk, about really the key. So you have to take the time to know what your core needs are and hold those. You've got to know what your non-negotiables are. Then you're in that dating relationship and you're going beyond the third date. You think that he fits, you're pretty sure that non-negotiables are there. And then you really are starting to date. And this, again, is where we often fall short because, it's like, woohoo, non-negotiables met, I like him, he's cute, he likes me, woohoo. But then we forget to pay attention to the red flags that are coming up, because that is basically the problem. So once you're in that dating, you're going forward with the dating so that you can make sure that you are the decider. That's what I want, you to be in the driver's seat, the decider. What you want to be able to do is evaluate. Don't stay in the rose-colored glasses place, and really evaluate. And so there's many different red flags. I have kind of 7 that I think are really important for people to look at, that really helps them to evaluate. Also you just want to kind of trust your gut and don't just go with everything. But shall I share my 7 red flags just for the
please.
listeners? All right. And there's details to how I talk about this, and we won't have time to go into all the details. But the first is that the person you're dating doesn't play well with others, is what I call it. You want to just really evaluate. Does he have his own friends? Does he interact well? How does he interact with people in public places? And there's more to it, but does he play well with others? That's what you want to evaluate. The second one is you want to make sure that I'll put it now, that he doesn't, the red flag is that he doesn't take personal responsibility. You really want somebody who can own their own stuff and can own and take responsibility, can be able to say, yes, I made a mistake, can say, I'm sorry for that. So that's a really important, you want somebody who can do that. The third one is that he has poor space issues. And what I mean by that, what I mean by that is basically it's kind of the idea of time together and time apart. When we're first dating, we want to have lots of time together, and that's normal. But you're really evaluating, does he have, is he able to have some of his own space and want to do things with his friends and allows you to have your, space? You want to, because sometimes, the guy that hangs around way too much and never gets mad if you have any time, you want to have any time with your friends, or he's not around at all. So either of those are the extremes in that issue. So you're looking for, does he have poor space issues? The other is, does he have poor boundary issues? And that I'm talking a little bit more about emotional boundaries. When we're healthy individuals, we have a more clear sense of ourselves and our own identity. Just like, when I'm talking about these women know what your needs are, you want him to know what his needs are. You want him to be able to recognize his feelings and kind of separate those out. Because the poor boundary issues, they can kind of look in the two extremes, just like the space issues. The first would be something like he's attached to you and ready to marry you on the 4th date or something like that. He's already planning the rest of your life together, and that can be a little bit. You want to be aware of that. And then the other, of course, is that that he may. I'm sorry, that he may be more on what I consider the dangerous side, and this is definitely one to look for, because this eventually can get into the domestic violence side, but that is he a little too controlling, too possessive, extremely jealous? When you say no, I prefer not to go to this place for dinner, let's go to this place, and he gets angry or anything like that. Those are kind of the two extremes, and you just want to be careful. And then the other issue, of course, is he doesn't really have any. He doesn't commit. He doesn't make any plans at all. You want somebody who kind of is in between. They can make some plans for the future, but they're not planning your entire rest of your life together. But those are that. There's lots to them, but that's that one. And then if there's a lack of self-awareness, again, emotional health is that they're aware of their self, and there's lots more to that. But having some self-awareness. Lacking communication skills. Now, communication skills are a tricky thing because a lot of us don't grow up knowing what are good communication skills, but you really want somebody who is able to say what they're needing, able to step into difficult conversations, but in a healthy way. So you're looking for that. And then if, my seventh red flag is, does he treat you poorly? Sometimes we don't even pay attention to that. Does he not want to take you into public? Does he not want to show you off to his friends? Does he say derogative or disrespectful things to you? Is he really always criticizing or judgmental of you? There's more on that one, but those basically are my seven red flags. I went through that really quick, so if you have any questions.
No, but they're great. I know, it's hard to – this is a comprehensive discussion, but I think this is a great list. And I had a woman call me last week who had been addicted to a narcissist who she right out said, he's narcissistic, he's terrible for me, but he's such a good friend. And then she describes how he stole her money and her credit card and it's just
and that's a good friend.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, you calling him your great friend? Does any, do you have other good friends who steal your money? A lot of times they, even if you just put it back on somebody and say, would you ever allow a girlfriend to do this to you?
That's
no.
a great way.
Would you, right? Yeah. Or would you allow your daughter to date that guy?
Yeah.
No. So
those are great reminders.
Right? We don't treat ourselves in the way that we would treat other people, or accept behaviors from people that we would never accept from others. So to close, I just wanted to have you talk a little bit about your Happy Relationship Summit, and tell us what the topic is this year and why you chose it.
I am so excited. So the title is understanding and using the differences between men and women to your advantage so that you can create the amazing relationship you want. So it's so exciting to me because, the differences between men and women kind of perplex us and they get in our way so often. And that's why I was that was just a topic that I always pick topics I'm interested in and want to learn more about, and I know other people want to too. So that's what it is. It's really fun because, of course, I was able to get like John Gray, men are from Mars and women are from Venus, and of course Sandy Weiner, yay, and so many other great relationship experts. And they're giving great information.
It's a great topic, and I can't wait to hear all the other experts. And I just finished my communications course where we had a man panel last night, and we had 4 relationship experts, men who do this for a living, and they were talking about how women communicate, how men communicate, and it's so wonderful for the women. Right from the men, what they want more of, and that they actually want to make women happy, and that they need to hear from women, how can we make you happy? I mean, and we love women, and women walk around thinking men don't like us, they have all the power. There's so many misunderstandings, so I'm so glad you did this, and I'm so glad you were on my show today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's just been really delightful getting to join you, and I'm so happy. Thank you for being on my Happy Relationship Summit. And anybody who, it's free, so please know it's totally free. So anybody who wants to, they can go to happyrelationshipsummit.com and can sign up now, and you'll get all the information about when it starts and how you can access everybody's interview, including yours,
Great.
Sandy.
Excellent. Yes, and I'll be sending out emails to my list and putting posts up on social media. So thank you so much for being on the show today, Deborah, and thank you all for listening today, and I hope you all go on your last first date very soon. Have a great day.